1. To follow Jesus. As he was walking along the Sea of Galilee, he saw two brothers, Simon called Peter and his brother Andrew, casting a net into the sea, and he followed them. Matthew chapter 4 verse 18 through 20. Jesus said, "Bury the dead with the dead and follow me." He got into the boat, and his disciples followed. Matthew chapter 8 verse 22 through 23. Follow me. The disciples followed Jesus according to his calling. Many people hear about Jesus and follow him. They left their boats and nets, left their parents and brothers, and followed Jesus. Levi gave up his job to follow him. Wherever he goes everywhere. Hearing the words of Jesus, he healed the sick, cast out demons, raised the dead, and walked on the sea. The disciples followed him without doubting that he was the Christ. When Jesus called his disciples, they responded and followed him. But the unexpected happens to those who follow Jesus. What awaits them who are filled with joy, amazement, and cheering that they have gained everything with Jesus? They were disciples who were ready to give their lives to follow Jesus, and were ready to go anywhere for Jesus. Jesus, who said follow me, shows a new attitude to the disciples who follow him. Jesus says, "You can't follow me. I don't know if you followed me until now. But from now on you say you can't follow where I'm going." The one who called the disciples is going a different way. Another way. Simon Peter asked, "Lord, where are you going?" Jesus answered, "Where I am going, you cannot follow me now, but you will follow later. You will lay down your life for me. Truly, truly, I say to you, before the rooster crows you will deny me 3 times." John chapter 13 verse 36 through 38. The only way is to deny Jesus 3 times before the rooster crows. Therefore, the path we have followed Jesus so far and the path we will follow Jesus in the future is to foretell a completely new and different path. We have no choice but to do it as the first way to receive the call of Jesus and follow Jesus. I had no choice but to go where he went and where he led. There was nothing I could do but follow him around. There was nothing I could do except show faith that I could do anything for him. What could be more than a confession of "I will give my life for you," a confession of devotion, a sense of mission, and total loyalty? Following Jesus in that way is all we can do. But it can be like that when you first start out, and that's how you start out, but that's not really following Jesus. Alpha Kappa Omicron Lambda Omicron Upsilon Beta Epsilon Omega Akaludio originally meant to walk the same road together. How to follow later in you can't follow now, but will follow later. Jesus said to his disciples, "Follow me." The disciples left their houses, boats, nets, and jobs. And the very Jesus whom his disciples followed was crucified. Shouldn't he somehow survive as he was called from the beginning, and make his disciples who followed him become fishers of men? Wasn't his death different from the betrayal of the disciples who believed in him and followed him? Should the dog chasing the chicken look at the roof, and the disciples who followed Jesus look at the sky? So we need to rethink what follow me means. Jesus denied Peter's confession that he would give his life. You can't follow them now, but you can follow them later. So what is the later, Western that can be followed? Here Upsilon Sigma Tau Epsilon Rho Omicron Nu means when the first road leaves and the second road comes. It refers to the time when the Alpha era passed and the Omega era arrived. It refers to the time when we follow the Spirit, not the flesh. Jesus says, "Follow me." Disciples follow Jesus. For the first time, Jesus led his disciples that way. At some point you declare that you cannot follow me. It exposes the fact that following like that is not following me, but the result of greed. It turns out that everything they do in their lives is nothing more than 3 denials before the rooster crows. Even today, there are many people who follow Jesus praising, "I will go wherever you call me." That's not it. Then they have to get rid of the Jesus they follow. At that time, Jesus follows them out of greed and follows them as the king of the world. Therefore, you must completely remove Jesus, the king of the world you follow, by hanging him on the cross. Then, how should the disciples listen to the word "follow me"? There, I must first be converted as I from Jesus whom they followed. Because Jesus died. It is because Jesus, who promised to come again when the dwelling place was ready, came as Christ in the form of anointing and stayed in his Father's house. He is both a son and a father at the same time. Also, after cleaning the temple, I come to the reconstructed temple as I. In other words, God, the owner of the temple, becomes me within me. Here the Father, the Son, and I become one. Therefore, we must now face the fact that the I included in the word follow me is not the dead Jesus. Finally, we must return to I as the living Jesus. The Jesus who follows later is not the Jesus outside the temple. Jesus turned to follow me in the temple. We must believe that his anointing teaches us all things. 1 John chapter 2 verse 20. From now on, you must follow me. You must hear me. You must ask yourself the way. You must ask yourself where you live and breathe. I have to ask myself the truth. You must realize that I am the way, the truth, and the life. This is the path we will follow later. If you ask, knock and seek, the anointing will teach you to seek, knock and find. Because this generation is a generation without prayer, there is no teaching and no realization. Since there is no prayer, instead of praying, we go to idols and ask for blessings. There are prayers of their own faith, but no one seeks his kingdom and his righteousness. Not our own faith, but the faith of Jesus must come to us. We must believe in the faith of Jesus.